my cool intro?
Use the Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna?
Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
I'm king of the pirates. Oh wait, wrong show. My bad. Sorry. We're going to do that later. I'm going to bring King Z in because tonight is the night. We're talking Penguin final episode. Whew. Several moments where I was picking my jaw up off the floor, but King Z has some housekeeping. He's insisting we do. I'll let him do it, and then I'll lose my mind.
All right. So as you do know that this is the final episode of The Penguin, which brings us much sadness because we will not be coming to you Monday nights with this live stream talking about one of the most fantastic shows that's aired, I would say, in the last 5 years. But with that said, we're not leaving you completely. What we're doing is we're going to be coming up with our next series, which starts on November 17th, and that will be the Dune series on HBO or on Max. I guess is the name of the app now.
Dude, it's HBO Max. Everybody knows.
Yep, so it's Dune Prophecy. This is supposed to be taking part before the events of Dune, before Leo Atreides takes over Arrakis. So it should be very interesting. There's some high-profile actors and actresses in this, so I am looking forward to reviewing this weekly with you guys. Coming swift on the heels of that, we will be going into a version of the Skeleton Crew brought out by Disney Plus of a Star Wars tale of what I've heard compared to as Goonies in space.
Goonies in space. Yep.
So we'll see how Caitlin Kennedy, who was responsible for Goonies, she was an executive producer on Goonies, can pull this off. Maybe this could be her swan song before they finally fire her. And
Dude,
then,
is there any overlap between these two shows? I forgot to ask you that when we were just talking before. How many episodes does Dune run? Yeah, there must be, right? Because it's got to be at least 8, right?
Yeah. So they will overlap. So we'll see how we play this. We might do a dual episode, like we'll do both reviews in the same episode.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
We will. All right, we'll talk about that after. Let's keep the housekeeping going.
And then after that, we have one more show that is slated right now. Starting on March 5th, we will be doing Daredevil Born Again, also on the Disney of the Pluses. So
now, I don't know if you saw my tweet the other day. I had actually just picked up that trade paperback so I could read up on it ahead of time for a change. It is in the Wolf's possession. I will be heading into that show with the somewhat biased idea of how well they get things done. It won't just be rolling into Secret Invasion. Secret War? Secret Invasion?
Secret War.
Which one was it?
Invasion
no, which one did we just
happened.
watch? Invasion, that's what I mean. That's the one we watched. And
Yes.
I didn't read that book, and it sucked anyway. So it didn't matter. But I'm looking forward to Daredevil. The book looks good. The art looks, it's old school. I didn't realize it was that old. So it's got that older, more simplistic, more colorful, the primary color kind of vibe to it. But anyway, different episode, different show. Continue. Sorry. I'm a little excited.
So we will be continuing on with Daredevil Born Again starting on March 5th. So you're not losing this completely.
Oh,
So here we go. We're going to get into the final episode of The Penguin. Now, I'm going to let you know right now, if you have not seen the episode, and I highly recommend that you do, pause our video right now. Go watch the episode, and then come back and join us. We'll still be here. So go ahead and hit that spoiler alert, because from here forward, we're spoiling everything. All right.
dude, I got no guarantee. And it's good that we worked the video into that this week. We always say we're going to do it. We do the sound effect. We do that thing. Because there's literally no way to wrap up this episode, this series, without taking it down from the inside out. Nuts, bolts, meat, potatoes, the whole nine. Dude, I'm usually in a giving mood where I say, give me your overall thoughts on the episode first. I got to skip that part tonight. Sorry, just got to do it. I have to say the first 5 minutes of this episode punched me right in the balls. I'll just say that. Usually you leave the episode with that feeling. This one just boom, unexpected. You had no idea they were going to drop this on you. We get a little bit more backstory, a little bit of, it's kind of a flashback, but like a guided hypnosis in the episode, but it portrays on screen as a flashback. And we get the stupefied truth that Oz's mom knew all along what he did. like, dude, take a deep breath and collect yourselves, because I'm still recovering from it. And I watched this shit at 2:00 today. It's 7 hours later where we are. I'm like, she knew. Like, she effing knew. I actually had to pause. I ran upstairs to Mrs. Wolf and said, she fucking knew the whole time. And we're not that we're monetized, but we're definitely demonetized now because the F-bomb in the first 4 minutes, but I couldn't help it. Like, I'm still reeling from that, dude. Take the mic, do something.
So what you have here is the guided hypnosis. Now, here is a funny twist to it. Because of the guided hypnosis, you could actually have the thought of that it was a program thought into her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it also goes into that she knew what happened, because it goes into Rex. Remember the mobster that they got the $50 from and dropped off the book? Right. He came over to the house after the boys died and was talking to her, and she pulls out the flashlight that was in Oz's pocket from them playing flashlight tag, and said that he let him out. And then he explained, like, you know, the door was sealed and it took them forever to get the door unsealed to get them out. And I have the monster in my house.
The devil in my house.
Yeah, the devil in my house. So the having the realization that she knew, if it was not a programmed thought in her head.
It's not, dude. It's not. They didn't, because we see this by the end of the episode, how she responds in the moment in one of the near ending scenes when the truth finally comes out and we see who Oz really is. We'll get to that later. I got a lot to say on that. And then the very end that we were just talking about offline. Dude, this scene with Rex puts so much stuff into perspective. It shows you so much interesting crap from a different point of view, where Oz idolizes this guy, and this guy is wholesale a piece of shit. Wholesale. Like, he offers to help with the funeral expenses for the boys. And you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like what the kind of thing Rex would have done. He's the neighborhood mob guy. He takes care of the people. People look up to him. And then the mom, Frances, she's like, oh, you know, I don't need a pity party. People throwing tissues in my face, God's will, blah, blah, blah. And then Rex is like, well, there's another way we can go, or whatever he says. And I'm like, he's talking about killing a kid. He's talking about, like, Jaws sharking a 12-year-old.
Well, he did say that there's two ways you could treat Oz. He said that, you know, you could nurture it and unleash it on the world and have it controlled. Or there's another way you can go.
And he gives a really compelling reason for that first thing first, where he's like, you know, these are the kind of guys I look for, guys without fathers. I give them a job, I give them dignity, I do this, I do that. And then they're loyal to me, not through greed because I'm paying them, but because he manipulates that family vibe. That was, he says, all these kind of guys have a void that they're trying to find somebody to give them approval. And I'm like, hearts and minds. Okay.
Yeah, he fills that void of, it's the opposite of when you say a girl has daddy issues. He's looking for guys with pretty much that absent void of a father or a family figure in their life.
Dude, undoubtedly a piece of shit, though. I'm sorry. He just is. Like, we weren't talking about Oz. He was like 17, 18 on the cusp. Like, no, bro, 12. Sick. And we see it later because it swings really easy into, which I thought was a really cool, it was a reimagining of the nightclub scene, where in the previous episode, we get younger mom all dolled up. And I mentioned the Norman Bates psycho thing, if you remember that last week. My God, I get the ick feeling this week. That was just weird.
Yeah, they took that to a whole nother level in this episode.
Oh, dude, they turned that up to 12 by the end of the episode. We'll get to that. But it's Oz and the mom at the nightclub doing the dance, doing the thing, having the talk. Ma, I'll take care of you, this and that. And Rex is in the background in like 3 separate spots, looking like Rob Schneider from like a Sandler movie, like he's standing in, like he's looking like, should I do it? Should I kill him? Should I do it? Wave him off.
It was kind of like the celebrity cameo when you just trying to get him in camera type
like,
thing.
He's in the back. He's over there. No, not talking. He's just like at the bar. And like the kid notices him. Like Oz notices him. Hey, Ma, look who's here. And she's like, yeah, I know he's here. It's okay. And then again, dude, clinic masterclass in acting. Oz is Oz. He's a piece of shit. We know this. But he says to the mom when they're talking, he goes, I know you miss them. I miss them too.
But
and
then
now that we know she knows, right? I'm like, oh my God, this woman is ruined forever.
Yeah.
dude, he's a broken dude. You know, the character he's closest to, right, is Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son. Like that,
Yeah.
young Oz. That's who
Yeah.
he is. He can be a little charming. He can be like, oh, I love my mom. I do this or that. I want to be this guy. I want to take care of people. But you're literally throwing dummies off the highway to cause car crashes to watch. Like that's who you are. Like you're a sicko, dude. So when the mom drops you off the ledge at the end and saves the other kid, saves Frodo, like you understand what that was Frodo, right? Wasn't that Elijah Wood?
Yeah, it was Elijah Wood.
Good Son. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure I have my kids. I could blabber on about how terrible Oz is as a person. Like Walter White had held that distinction for me for years. Like the self-serving, smarmy, arrogant, better than everybody, smartest guy in the room bullshit. Until I met this guy. And now I'm like, dude, there's no bigger pile of camel dung on the planet than you. But I want season 2. That's the rub. That's the rub, dude. I want more, and I know we're not getting it, and I hate it. I hate it.
Let's give our flowers to that actor to portray that such emptiness when he said that line and just turned away just to enjoy the rest
So
of the
look at the
room.
dancing, right?
Yeah, like he has nothing in him.
Dude,
That
zero
kid,
F's to give.
that kid
Zilch.
nailed it.
Mm-hmm. It was just that whole scene, that whole vibe was creepy, weird. I'm like, who brings a 12-year-old to a nightclub anyway? Like, how is this a thing? You know, but like, I'm sure it happened in like the 70s or the 80s or whenever that was supposed to happen, you know, like
I liked the break they had in it too, where you see Dr. Rush and you see Sophia at the nightclub. Like he's losing control of the theory.
This guy has the creepiest smile I've ever seen. I'm sure in real life he's a nice guy. And if he's married, his wife and his family probably love him, all that good stuff. But that stupid hollow-eyed smile, bro, if they don't make him into the Scarecrow somehow, some way, because he doesn't die in this show. If I recall correctly, he's not around at the end when all the shooting happens.
No, you see him at the very end. He's back at Arkham.
Oh, that's right. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Hold on, because that was awesome. I forgot about that last scene. He's delivering mail. I forgot about that. So, dude, if they don't somehow make him the Scarecrow, it's a missed opportunity for me. Major miss. Major miss. I don't know how to get around that. Because that dude, he fits Sophia like a glove. Dude, Rip Vic. Oh, he must have seen our spoiler warning, Rip Vic. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that, brother. We're gonna get there. The Rush fits Sophia like a glove, where she does the wild googly eye thing, like when she's getting a little serious. He does that weird, it's like a Michael Myers half smile. It's always with the head tilt. You notice that shit? Yeah. Always with the head tilt, man.
He definitely portrays that there's something off about him, and he does it in such a manner where it's like matter of factly that he does it.
Yeah.
It just, you got to catch it. You see that he's trying to be this other guy, but there's something else that's hiding in him, and you can see it trying to escape, and especially in his eyes.
Which is why he should be the Scarecrow. Can we just get there? Can we just get to that part? Is he in the Batman 2? We need to get on the IMDb. We need to check that out and see if this dude's cast in that role, or just if he's just in the movie.
I think they're still going through casting. They don't start shooting the Batman part 2 until next year.
Oh, Jesus, dude. At this point, we're going to get that effing Ray movie before we get the Batman 2. Come on. Good. And we didn't even talk about that. That's for Wednesday, though. I'm saying
that's for Wednesday.
That's for Wednesday. But yeah, my God, dude, we're only like 6 minutes into this episode, and I feel like already we've seen a better sampling of character writing across what? The mom, young Oz, Rex, Rush, Sophia, while they're kind of interrogating her with the hypnosis. In literally 6 minutes, we get a great sample of writing of different characters doing weird, different shit. That's all in line with what they're supposed to do, with what I expect them to be doing. And I want more. Every effing scene, I want more of what they do. And that's 5 stars. That has to be 5 stars, dude.
And this episode also goes with the tradition of all the other episodes where there's ebbs and flows on top, at the bottom, back up top, and then like they would crisscross of who's on top and who's on bottom, and it just keeps going to do that.
Dude, it's the best. We talk about that all the time. Like every single time Oz thinks he wins something, he loses. Like if we fast forward all the way to the end, like we've done with this show, like he and we'll do details coming. He gets the drop on Sophia, and we kind of had a feeling that would be the case, you know. And as he's going to celebrate his victory because he wins, like he's it. uh-oh, mom's not mom anymore. We'll leave it at that, in those terms for right now. So it's always like you said, dude, it's like there's a victory and it's never long lived. It's always like and in the next breath, the rug comes right out.
Yeah.
Every effing time through this show. And when we always talk about setups and payoffs, we're always talking about those kind of things. Attached neatly to that, like you said, just in terms of pacing, is that rise and that fall, and then the rise a little bit higher, and then that fall, and then the rise to the peak where he wins Gotham, and then boom, all the way back down. Because at the end of the day, however this episode wrapped up with the weirdest Norman Bates shit you've ever seen, because that was weird, and I thought he was going to throw that chick out the window so I could claim prediction number 2, because I thought that was going to happen. Maybe that happens at the beginning of the Batman 2. No such luck for the wolf. It was bizarre. And I had to squint because I'm like, when that character came in and they're going through the little dance routine and the jazz is playing and she's wearing the mom's dress, I'm like, what the hell is that chick? Oh, and then they zoom in and I get a better look. I see she's got a little bit darker skin and it's a friendly face. We'll leave it at that for right now. And I'm like, oh my God, this dude's full-blown psychotic. He's full-blown Norman Bates, 100%.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, he actually when I was watching it with my wife, we sat there and she asked me, so what'd you think of it? And I was like, he's giving off supreme Norman Bates vibes. That's exactly what you got in this.
He's paying for the Bates experience.
Yes.
Definitely. And it was just so effing creepy. To refresh my memory, after they do the hypnosis, what's the next scene?
It's where they wake Oz up.
Okay, I thought it played right into that, right?
Yeah.
So they got Oz in a box sideways because like the view is sideways somehow or whatever.
It's just his vision because he's on his side. They stand him up in the chair. They had him knocked over, and then his vision was.
I thought there was a slat. Maybe they pulled a blindfold off or something because at one point they slatted something.
What it was is kind of like your eyes like half open, like your eyes awaking. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they sit Oz up. He's got the dirty gym sock in his mouth. He's all duct taped to the chair and shit. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Here's the wolf's getting this one. This is the big prediction I made. This is going to be the set off. And my God, dude, I'm embarrassed that I predicted something as simply obvious as they're going to kill his mom and then he's going to go crazy. These people are better than I am, plain and simple. That's just how it is. Again, I watched the post-credit thing and it's fascinating listening to this director, the set designer in this one talking about, we wanted to give the club an element of like a visual appeal, like a jungle, because Gotham is an urban jungle. And we really wanted to bring that to life. And I'm like, I see exactly what this chick's talking about. Holy shit. So it turns out when people know what they're talking about, it actually translates onto the screen. And I thought that was wildly entertaining. But so yeah, talk us through this scene. So they got Oz, he's duct taped, they bring the mom in and go.
And then Sofia is trying to hurt Oz like something he can never recover from. The hurt that can't be repaired. And so he's trying to get his mom to admit to him that she hates him and everything that she knew of and she starts talking to him and like, just admit it, Oz, admit it. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, Ma. He's like, don't lay a finger on her. And then she brings out the cigar cutter and puts it on her finger. Yep. Yeah. They would have showed her taking it in his apartment if it wasn't going to play later.
Yep. Chekhov's gun.
They put it on her finger, and he was like, all you have to do is that you tell her that you did it on purpose. And then they're digging into her thing, going as slow as they can.
Yeah, they cut her finger.
She's like, you're gonna let them do this? I knew. I've always known. And he's like, no, Maj, it's your disease, Mom. That's what's talking. You don't know what you're talking about. And then she just goes off. Like, they stop cutting her finger and she just goes off on him. She's like, I've hated you. I've always hated you. I never stopped hating you. And
I should have let Rex take you on that drive.
Yes.
I believe comes up in that scene in that moment. Woo.
And then she breaks a bottle and straight stabs him with it.
Dude, in the gut.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you really wanted him dead, you got to go under the throat. He can't defend himself, but I get it. You know, she just went in there and dug. And I'm with that because you need the plot to happen. And these are one of those times. If I had this tiniest nit to pick, I'd be like, if I was that mad at you, I'd right under the chin. but we need the story to happen. And this was only 12 minutes into the episode. What are we going to do? Everybody just go home?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, that was so,
but
it was a punches everywhere.
But it doesn't end there. The scene continues with her going off and she sees her boys, the wet, waterlogged, drowned boys.
Dude, I got Sixth Sense, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, Alfred Hitchcock, every horror genre vibe coalesced into that for me. Like The Ring. I'm like, dude, it's not enough that they just put the two guys there. They were wet and dripping.
Yes.
Like, dude, you got me already, show. You don't have to go this hard with every creative decision. And you did. And you did. Like, my God, dude, stop it. Just stop. Like, it's already dead. Stop. Oh, my God.
But that's when the Nets point happens. The Nets flip of the script, because his mom has an episode where she collapses on the floor because she can't finish her sentence and collapses on the floor. And then he like breaks out of his duct tape and chair, takes one guy out with the broken wood, uses him as a body shield, then takes his gun and shoots the other guy.
He shoots through him.
Yeah,
he shoots through him.
Well, I think he was confirming that he was going to die because he shot him twice, and then he went around him and then shot the other guy.
I thought he was just busting shots through him, and then he ran up over the top. Dude, it was like if John Woo action movie broke out in that club.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what the hell are they doing? And it was amazing.
And then he runs, grabs his mom, shoot at Sophia and Rush to keep their heads down, and then comes out. And then the most satisfying moment is the
called it as he was running outside. Called it.
Yep, the cop was there that turned him over to Sophia,
the dirty cop from the other episode,
and the one who arrested her to begin with.
Yep, the Bliss Eye addict. Yep.
Yeah, and then just blows his head off, and then hops in a car and speeds away.
As soon as he came on screen and was in the foreground, close to the camera, doing the eye drops, I said, "He's getting his eye blown out." No question. And 2 seconds later, his eye just explodes into my screen because Oz dropped him and stole his car. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, this show. Holy hell. And then Sophia in her 12 out of 10 psycho sexiness, crazy gangster mob bitch comes outside, and this is broad daylight, guys. This isn't like 2 a.m. deserted area down by the docks. Like, nah, bro. They're like in the city, broad daylight. It looks like it's lunchtime. And she just storms out of the building in her miniskirt and puts a round off at the car and misses, and then just stands there. Like, as cars are stopping in traffic abruptly. Like, oh my God. Sorry. I'm a little choked up on that.
Now, there's a small point in that gunfight in that area is that you see that Sophia's gun is actually out of ammo, and that's why she didn't shoot him as he was still continuing out, which I think is a small detail that would be missed. Yeah.
Yep. And I thought about that too. As it happened, I'm like, oh, okay, slides back. So she knows if she pops her head up, she's probably going to lose an eye. You know what I mean? So that was good. That was good. But again, it's a small detail that furthers what is happening in a way that breaks for Oz, but it's not unexpected or unrealistic. Like, you just traded a bunch of rounds with somebody. If it's only holding 10 or whatever she shot, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't fully loaded. Who knows? But when I see the slide back, I know that's intended to slow her down. So she can't just follow the guy who already walks with a limp and is carrying an unconscious adult on his shoulder like it's a goddamn Schwarzenegger movie, and he's the commando. I'm like, my God, dude, this literally just became Commando. Like, he scoops the mom, is making a break for it, and is like sending suppressive fire back with his offhand. Like, what? What is going on? When did this show become this? But it's awesome, and they saved it. That's the best part. Yeah,
but people can do extraordinary things in times of crisis, and that's probably the full adrenaline rush was
flipping
going
the car
through
over off the babies. Yeah, 100%.
So,
but I knew they were all boned the minute mom went down. I knew everybody in that room was boned. Fact, no question. I'm like, oh, you're all done now.
And then you get to the we talked about setup and payoff. The big one that happened with Vic. So we finally get Vic back. and he's riding with the mobsters, and then they see the big crater and like them cleaning everything up, and then like it's like a drop of the hat, and they all like they drank beers 2 episodes ago about taking back Gotham, and then at the first sign of adversity, they're like, oh, we're out, he's dead, and they all just leave, and like Vic is trying to rally them, and Link punches him.
He tried to penguin speech him. He tried to penguin speech him. Oh, this is good for Vic, and then like you said, bump.
Yeah, but this is great because Link bends him over. He's like, you're going to catch a bullet. You got to find your time, the right time. And then he leaves them there as they all roll out.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good. That makes sense because it shows that none of these characters in this world have a straight shot to victory ever, because Vic's arc was obviously he's kind of a kid heading down the wrong path. He gets mixed up with some bad people. He almost gets killed by Oz. Runs with Oz, has some setbacks. He's obviously lost his family and all that stuff. But in the last 3 episodes, we've been like, oh, okay, Vic's getting harder. He's toughening up a little bit. He's kind of up in his game. He's carrying a gun. He's running some jobs. And here we go. Like, oh, he's giving the Oz speech. Thump.
Yep.
Nope. Not that easy, son. Sorry. Not gonna happen like that. And then, like you said, they just roll out on him. Like that's that. Mm-hmm. So the whole Oz just has to survive thing until the cavalry gets there. Non-issue.
Nope.
Kinda, sorta. Comes in a little differently later.
And that's what we're talking about with setup and payoff, is that this setup had to happen so you get the payoff later.
Right. So what happens, dude, again, I'm a little hazy on all the where and whens. What happens after that? Is this where he catches up with Oz at the hospital?
Yeah, because, Oz goes straight to the hospital and drops his mom off at the emergency room.
Right,
and then
for a stroke.
He steals a nurse's phone and he calls Vic, who's driving his car at this point, and he tells him a point to meet up at. Yep. And then you quickly transition to the Falcone home.
Did that happen next?
Yeah, where she offers all of Oz's allies, all of her stuff for the first person who brings Oz to her. And they're like, well, why are you going to give this all up? He's like, this isn't going to happen. Who's going to give up all this stuff? She's like, I can, because
I am.
You will do that. Yeah, it's like, why are you going to leave Gotham? Because I can.
This is actually a pretty big scene going forward, and I think it was very quietly and subtly done, because like you said, it's Sophia, and she's got all of Oz's would-be, not his workers, like all the other gangs, the other family connection, not family, but the other faction,
the other smaller families.
She's got the I think there was a Mexican group that had the 2 women with it. I think they were Mexican. I think they had said that before. So like all the Oz cronies kind of, and she's basically in her giant ass mansion being like, yeah, I'm gonna head out, but if you guys want all this, my territories, my businesses, my connections, whoever brings me Oz gets it for as long as you can hold it, which I thought was a great way of putting that.
Yes,
kind of acknowledging the temporary basis of how this world works.
Yeah, because as soon as you have power, someone else is going to try to take it from you.
Someone else is gunning for you. But that kind of leads right into what kind of goes down at the end, which kind of caught a little off guard, because they very cleverly played that scene where Oz is on Oz. We'll get to that, I guess. We'll put a pin in that. Right after this scene, Oz is in the ER. He's dropping his mom off. He's now in like a side room. He's in a supply closet room, kind of taking care of that abdominal wound Mama laid on him with the glass, pouring the antiseptic, trying to staple himself up and patch himself. Vic comes in and gives a second shot at like the Oz speech. Like, yeah, no, you got to get up. You got to be you. You turn the lights back on. You got to be you. And Oz takes a little joke. And he goes, hey, you practiced that, didn't you? And Vic's like, oh, yeah, F you. Okay, yeah, we still got to get going, though. And I thought that was, again, this is what you expect from these two together, which makes the ending all the much better when you get there. And you're like, dude, I fucking hate this guy. Oh my God, do I hate this guy? But I want season 2 more than anything ever. So, but Oz again got to think on his feet. He knows he can't, there's nobody left for him to side with in his world. He's burned literally everybody.
Or blew him
literally everybody. Yeah. Done. There's nobody left. So he makes the unexpected but smart play. Where does he go? That's you.
Oh yeah. He goes to the councilman, and he's like, you got Sophia Falcone. And as he refuses to call her, is it Giuliani?
Gigante.
Gigante. That's right. He refuses to call her Gigante. It's always Sofia Falcone. And you need to give the people an enemy, but you also need to give the people a hero, talking about him and like you to rise to the top. He's like, I will give it. He's like, what do you want in return? He's like, I want to feel a little bit more accepted around here.
And they're having this conversation at City Hall. I mean, just so we can set that table. Yeah.
Yeah. In the councilman's chambers, like where they do the council meetings and everything like that.
You see the mayor's placard up at the top, and Oz is up there walking around her desk by her chair. She picks up the gavel.
Yeah, this thing works.
Oh, yeah, I guess it works. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
There's always those one little like off the wall things in these. Yeah.
But we don't talk about this enough when we're reviewing this show. One of the things this show gets right that Marvel hasn't gotten right in so long is the levity doesn't come at the expense of anything tense or meaningful. Like there was no dramatic tension in the sense in this scene. Nobody had just died in somebody's arms. You know what I mean? A whole busload of nuns didn't go off a cliff 3 seconds prior where you're supposed to be like, oh my God, this is the low point. Like he's at a low point, but it's not the lowest point he's at. So cracking a little off color. Oh, you look like shit. Oh, the gavel works joke. Like it works in this moment because we move right on from it and it didn't completely like rug out anything that happened previously.
And it pretty much goes into that they make a deal where he's going to give up Sofia Falcone. He's going to give them, like, if he told him, like, if you go and check the bomb site, you're going to see pieces of her car. You're going to see, he said that the whole operation, the drug operation that was underground was, he's like a smart guy did this whole thing. He's like Sal Maroni. You find him down there probably if there's anything left. You're going to see a scatter of both Falcones and Maronis down there.
All true. Yep.
It just
all true.
He totally played on what actually happened and put it into what he needs to happen.
He kind of Kaiser Soze the whole thing from like Usual Suspects. Like I'm not, except I guess it's the opposite really. That was all make believe. The Kaiser Soze told the detective based on the bulletin board. This was everything Oz had done, but he just switched who did it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He just interchanged himself with Sal and Sofia, basically.
And there's enough evidence to back his claim and no one to argue against his claim.
Nope. Or soon to be no one, because that was the ultimate payoff of how he, and then we were kind of trying to figure how that would happen. So we knew this wasn't going to come down to like a Marvel-esque or DCEU-esque, or were they going to have a shootout between him and Sofia? That'd be stupid. They're obviously not going to box. Also stupid. Like we knew it was going to have to be some battle by proxy, who's maneuvering who with what. And again, there's that rapid fire back and forth because as the next scenes get into it, she's put the bounty out on Oz. She's gone to all his guys directly and been like, hey, somebody brings me Oz, somebody gets rich. And while Oz is in the City Hall doing his thing, making his move, parallel to that, Link, who's one of Zhao's guys, the second in command that Oz had initially gone through, the triad, right? The younger guy. He calls Vic and he's like, hey, are you with Oz? And Vic doesn't say anything. And then Link's like, oh, you're right. Sofia put a bounty out on your guy. If we're going to do something, we need to do it quick. And the pit in your stomach drops because you're like, oh shit, he's lying. He knows he can go to Vic and get the drop. And like, that's it. He's going to profit because he's sick. He's probably sick and tired of always being second dog to Zhao. And we've seen that exchange a couple of times where Zhao has told him, mind your role. Like there's always been that vibe. And I think it's stated explicitly like once or twice in other episodes.
And
he told him like saying your lane.
I took that as like he's trying to get Vic, like, hey, there's only one way this is going to end, and it's not going to be with Oz. Let's us make a play and get this bounty taken care of.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, see, I went the other way with that. I'm like, I didn't think he was trying to get Vic to go against because I had a feeling they would all know that wasn't going to happen with Vic. Because Vic is a golden retriever. He's a Labrador. Like that's it. Like he's all loyal to the master. Like that's it.
Yeah.
I thought it was definitely he was going to lie to him and then put them both down.
And yours actually played out how it actually happened. But like what they were trying to set up is seeing that Vic is out and that they're going to turn him over to Sofia because either you save your own neck or you won't have a neck left.
Right. So Oz comes out of the courthouse. Nobody in the Volvo. And you're like, okay, here we go. Vic's dead, or he's in on it, or whatever. And Zhao's guys are there. Dude, again, interesting creative decision that they don't talk about in that post-credit scene thing here. They basically kidnapped this dude in broad daylight in front of City Hall while flashing their guns. And I'm like, dude, even in Gotham, this seems like a ballsy play. Yeah, maybe in like maybe in the evening when the councilman's about to go home and it's like sundown or something. You know, you can get away with that when it's like it's dusk. But this is like, again, lunchtime, downtown City Hall.
So you're also thinking that a terrorist action just happened. So you could probably drive through the streets of Gotham backwards and not get a ticket at this point because all the cops are down there in Crown Point right now.
We're busy. Yeah, dude, that's a good point. We need to talk about that too. We should probably just divert real quick and talk about the terrorist action in Gotham. Dude, at this point, how is Batman not involved in this show?
Because it's daylight.
Because it's daylight. Right. Sure. That's it. Batman has no jurisdiction internationally, but motherfucker doesn't come out before like 6 p.m. Okay.
That's right.
That's what we're going with, I guess. Batman's a vampire. Can't come out.
He had a big business meeting in like another
at
country and he couldn't be there. Yeah.
He couldn't have done that via Zoom. Come on. I was thinking that the entire time because as Vic earlier when Vic's rolling up on Crown Point with the crews, like you basically have the crater and the mushroom cloud of dust like billowing, and I'm like, where's Batman? Come on. Where's Batman? Come on, guys. Where's Batman?
So you have to think it's only been a couple of hours actually. Like in the actual timeline, it's only been a couple of hours.
So maybe he was asleep. Maybe he was just getting in. So Batman was asleep and didn't get the call. Gordon didn't call him. First thing.
If you watch the Batman, he never showed up during the day.
That's true. All right, fine. I'll give you that. They saved it for the end. We'll talk about that. So we get the bit with the Volvo. Where do they go after Oz gets in Zhao's van? Do we go right to the airport?
No, we cut back to the Fartone house where she burns it down.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! How did I forget that?
After promising it to whoever gave them Oz, and she still burns down the house.
Dude, this chick is crazy. Like capital C. Like she's dumping her dad's clothes, like all the rest of her dad's clothes on the bed.
Mm-hmm. To include the watch that she got because that's what she got him for his birthday.
Right. That was the birthday present, right? And I'm like, I mean, the minute she throws shit on the bed, I'm like, all right, she's gonna set it on fire. Like, there's no question what's coming. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, she's not just making room in the closet. Like, no, she's gonna torch it. And I'm like, but that's a really nice house. Yeah. Why are you torching? And I'm like, oh, because you're crazy and you're just you're burning the bridge, literally.
Yeah, you're destroying everything that can be Falcone.
But I'm like, if you just made this deal in good faith with these other people and you're walking away, why are you torching this 5,500 square foot mansion in Gotham? Like, I'd be annoyed by that because if I were Zhao at this point and one of my guys said, hey boss, the house is on fire, I'd be like, well, then why are we bringing this chick, this dude? You know, like, why is she burning us out? Is she still leaving? Is she still going to give us everything else she promised? Or is she going to gas us? You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, that seems a bit, but they had to have their moment. My God, dude, she is too attractive. I don't care how crazy she is. She's entirely too attractive. Entirely. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. So that whole thing, crazy. Because fire is such a good cleanser. You ever heard, trial by fire, stuff like that?
Yep. It's universal cleansing agent.
Way to destroy stuff. And she's just trying to wipe it out from the earth. And that's why you had to have her setting stuff on fire to include the family
she picked three
portrait.
Tactical things. Right. I was just going to say that. It was very tactical. She burned her dad's clothes in the watch and the desk that would have been her seat of power. And then literally the family portrait. Like those were the three that she flicked the lit cigarettes at after dousing it with the alcohol. And very intentional. And
then watching it burn from the outside. And then she gets the phone call, hey, we got Oz. And she's like, all right, they got, and then they roll out, and that's where we meet the airport. Like, that's right. There's like, we've always talked about, like, we don't want to go beat by beat, but this episode is so full with information and everything.
Yes.
You can't help but go beat for beat because everything in this episode has meaning and it ties up all the ends from the previous episode. So you kind of have to do it. So we apologize now for going beat for beat for this story, but you need everything.
Exactly, dude. I'm not apologizing because everything this show nails its finale in ways that other also great shows dating back however long drop the ball on. Every scene in this episode propels what's coming forward, and the pace gradually increases to breakneck until you hit that conclusion and you're like, I don't know what the hell just happened, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
we're looking at you, Lost. We're looking at you.
It's looking at you, Sopranos, looking at you, 24, looking at you, Seinfeld for the deep cut, for way back for sitcoms. I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, it's Better Call Saul to an extent had a really crappy finale. Breaking Bad ended well, though. I did like that. That's probably the most. But again, dude, the Breaking Bad ended in like 2009 or whenever. Like, it's like 15 years old now. Like, why is it every 15 years they finally figure out how to do it? Because they put an awful lot of effing thought into it. That's how. Yeah,
the showrunners in this, the director, the art design, everything was done with intention.
Golf clap. Yep, 100%. 100%. And again, there's not many shows, and I don't even know if this is something I'll do going forward until maybe you vouch for it for me. But I've said it before, dude. I don't stick around typically after credits on shows. Like I'm Marvel trained, so I'll stick around at a movie for post credits, even if it's not Marvel. Like, I'll pull the phone out and go to like stingers.com and be like, does Smile 2 have a stinger scene? Because you just want to know, because a lot of movies do it now, you know, but shows never would have occurred to me to do it until you were like, dude, they have that shit. And I was like, oh, all right, well, let me check it out. I like this show. So now I'm doing it, but you'll have to tell me about Dune, because I'm not making that kind of commitment until you tell me. But anyways, we're at the airport. Private jets are rolling out of the hangar. Oz is boned. Guys got guns all around him. Zhao's guys are there. Every people are there, you know, all positioned all around him. And Vic is there. And I'm like, it's interesting that Vic is here. And I was like, okay, all right, what's coming? And then again, the unexpected that they kind of clued you in, but didn't. They left enough ambiguity either way that you couldn't, I don't think anybody could have predicted it went down specifically like it did. Did you?
No.
Did you know without a doubt it was going to pop off like that?
Yeah, like I said, I thought that it was, Vic, let's make a deal. We like you. We don't want you to go down with Oz. Oz is not going to make it to this. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, when I saw Vic there, I'm like, did they really turn Vic? But then
they're going to make Vic kill him.
But then they played on the body language. Like, Sophia's there happy and she's looking at Oz, and all of a sudden Oz is just this little curl of a smile.
Dude, it was the same smile he gave his guy in the lab right before he pulled the lights when all hell broke loose in the lab. And I was like, oh snap. He got him again.
Yeah. And this is when Link takes out Zhao. And this plays out much better in the future scene right after this.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, they take out Zhao, and then everyone the rest of the gang there turns their guns on Sophia's guys and takes them all out, leaving Sophia the sole person standing. And then she's there by herself with Oz.
Dude, and I don't know if it was ever said on this show, but like, I always thought that like maybe Zhao was like Link's uncle or something. Like, there might have been a family connection there, because the other groups, like, they hinted that the Irish guys had like a connection. Donnie and his underlings, they might have been brothers and nephews or something like that. So I assume there was a family-ish component to all of them. And even if there wasn't, it's like, you know, Link was this guy's like right hand second guy for years. There's no shot he was a new hire. Like that was his guy.
Yeah, when they were even talking about the triad, what was that, episode 3 or episode 2?
It was either 2 or I think it was 2.
It was 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, it was early. It was early.
When like they had to go through Link before they could even get a meeting with Zhao.
Right. No, he was the gateway. Right. Yeah. He was the capo. He was the under guy. So I'm like, and that was a great shot too. And I bet this tickled you as like a video and as a production guy. Like, again, Zhao is in the foreground close to the camera, but you very clearly see Link drawing him like off to the angle, like 30 degrees off to the side. And you just see the muzzle flash and boom, dude goes down. Like, he took one of the dome, and that's it. And party's over. Ding dong, the boss is dead.
Yep.
My God. Like, dude, this show just like, this show is like that meme where like the car's on the highway and it's like predictable Hollywood bullshit. Here's the exit. And then, no, the predictable Hollywood bullshit's the straight ahead. And then the cool shit you never thought of as the exit, and the car's up on 2 wheels. Trying to just like get 100 miles an hour. You know, like that's this show. That's honest to God, this show. And I love it. I love it. But you're right. This scene has big ripples going forward, because this shit goes down like Order 66 from like Revenge of the Sith. That's how this goes down. So walk us through into that part.
So this part, he takes her, he's like, let's go for a ride, like old times. And he's driving her. And like they go to the bridge. And remember, they mentioned the bridge before when they're talking about taking back Gotham. This is the bridge that divides the rich from the poor. It was built by the poor, but it was named after a rich guy. And it's like,
that didn't matter.
Yeah, who had nothing to do with getting it built or lended a hand to get it
didn't
built.
fire a bolt, right? Mm-hmm.
And he takes her there and he walks her out and he's talking to her and he's like, did you really think that this was going to go this way? Did you really think it was talking about like
he tells the story about you were too busy filling your own plate and not realizing everybody around you was starving.
Yep.
You know, and that you haven't given people a look in all these years. You don't even know their effing names. He had one of his Oz speeches basically. Yeah. And he's setting up some cinematics. My God.
And then it was talking about like, it's time for a change. And then you see like Donnie Boy get strangled by his number 2. You see the Latino chick get beat up by her number 2. Like a whole changing of the guard.
All of them.
Like
all of them.
Like we want to be part of what's new. You're going to keep trying to keep us down this, status quo type relationship, and we're done with it. So
it was literally all 4 groups, dude. Donnie Boy got strangled out. The Mexican girl took a bike helmet to the face. The Russian guy got his throat cut in the sauna. And there were 2 black groups, I thought. One of them, he was just in the bathroom and he got shot.
Yeah,
Destroyed by his guy.
And it was all by the number 2s.
Yep.
All the number 2s took him out.
Yep.
So it was like a changing of the guard type feeling of it.
Now, I wonder if in going into the Batman 2, if any of these people come back incorporated into like, dude, at this point now, there's no way that the Penguin's not the main antagonist in the Batman 2. Like, what else could it be? It has to be this because he's now in charge of Gotham. And if this is, what did you say? The Batman is basically year 2, give or take. Yeah. Like that's kind of where they're at timeline wise. If they're trying to keep it parallel, like they're not bringing, and we've already said this, they're not bringing in the fantastical. There's not going to be a Mr. Freeze or something like that, or Poison Ivy, like with literal fantastical plant powers. Like, no, this is going to be a crime story following up on a crime story from the Batman. So it has to be Oz as the boss. So I wonder if all these number 2 characters, I wonder if at least a few of them will be back and will be his guys in this movie going forward. That'd be cool. I'd like to see that.
Oracle has been checking up on things for us.
Oh, well.
And
thank you.
She has passed on that Colin Farrell is officially cast in the Batman Part 2.
Okay, so he's in it. So now I just need to see confirmation that he's the main antagonist. And we have to assume he is. How can we not? How could we not?
Yes. Because remember, the supervillains that's from the Batman universe are based in a real life type situation. Right. Like you're not going to have, like you said, the fantastical, like Mr. Freeze, and you're not going to have Poison Ivy unless it's
Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
Like these kind of characters that we were talking about a couple of episodes ago on our Frostcast show. You guys should check that out. It was thrilling.
Yes. That where you could do a couple of these, like you could do Poison Ivy, but it'll be more of a real life base. She doesn't control plants, but she uses
scientists and
poison people.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And leaves it like a plan as a calling card type thing or something like that.
Single rose petal. I hate myself for even saying that, but okay. Yeah. That's how they would do that. But to get back, so he's ostensibly won.
Yes.
In this show, he's won. Everybody's dead. Everybody's doing the thing. He's got Sophia. And the best part of the episode is this part, right? Because again, I didn't see it coming because everything they've told us about, or most of what they've told us about Oz, is that he's an impulsive psychopath that goes violence first and then recovers later and has to fix things after he goes crazy. So when he's got Sophia marched out into the woods, basically under this bridge, I'm like, oh, we got this long drawn out shot. The camera's kind of looking at her in profile. There's no bright light yet. The gun's it's passing from the gun into her head. I'm waiting for her to close her eyes and the bang. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, bang. See, I did. That's what I'm talking about. I'm 4D through the screen into the secure location. The bright light appears and I'm like, okay, it's all metaphorical. She's seeing the light because she's going to die. Ah, bro, it's not a bright light because she's dying. It's an effing spotlight from the helicopter because Oz walked her into the police trap and then ran.
Yeah.
He delivered her to the councilman.
That was the best part because he's like, you know how this turned in. He's like, turn around, and he has the gun pointed, and then the slow motion that they did for
Dude,
her taking
yes.
her breath, her closing the eyes
It
and
hurt.
looking up, and then the spotlight hits her, and then it's like, but there's been no fire, and then she turns around, Oz is gone, and you see the police. Which this is such a better ending and so even because if you go with what she tried to do, she tried to destroy Oz at what he loves the most, which is his mother.
Yep.
And what is a fate worse than death for Sophia?
Back to Arkham.
Back to Arkham.
Oh my God, dude. The Greek tragedy, brutal. And I love that it's the corrupt cop that she was shit talking the day of the family's mass execution, where she was like, oh, you come out here to gloat, drink some beers with your cop buddies. How much were you on the take for my dad? It was that guy with the gravelly voice, that was there to the chief. I guess he's the chief. I think he's the chief of police in that world, right? To oversee her arrest. And dude, they throw her down on her knees. She's got her $1 trillion, designer dress on. She's just looking shocked as shit because she knows she's going back to Arkham.
Yep.
It ain't that she's mad. She's petrified. She's already re-breaking psychiatrically. It's already happening.
Yeah, she knows she's going back.
So once again, I'm saying, dude, the show tells us that all Oz does, he thinks on his feet. We get that. We get that he's that kind of smart, that he can problem solve as he goes. There's no question about that. But the planning steps ahead, probably not his strong suit because of the impulsivity. But this is the one time he beat the impulsivity and literally pinned all the crap that he told the councilman she did. He wrapped her up in a bow to solidify that deal, which now means he has those inroads with City Hall going into the Batman 2. He's won. He got what he wanted.
And that's the thing.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
That's the whole net scene where he goes into his mom's hospital room. He's like, we won. He's like, you see that on TV? And they had the press conference with the councilman and the chief of police. And
I did that. He bought it all.
He bought it all. And then she's not responsive. She's just staring at him.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's like, it can he's like, the nurse comes in and she's like, I've been looking for you. She had a massive stroke and she not the same.
Persistent vegetative state.
Yeah. Yep. And then he's like, get the doctor. And then he's there and he's trying. He's like, I did this all for you, Mom. Just say you're proud of me. Just say you're proud of me.
He takes her hand and puts it on the back of his head while he's on his knees and begs for her approval.
Yeah.
Begs.
And then you have the scene with Vic and he comes up and puts his hand on
him.
Oh
my God, dude. Oh. Yep. I'm like, oh my God, he is a golden retriever. He's a lab. He is. He's like the honest pup. He was the best boy. Fact. That's who he is.
Which makes the next scene so unpredictable, so heart-wrenching.
Nope, not unpredictable. Because if we can freeze frame and go back to episode 1, the wolf said, this kid doesn't make it out of this show. Oz is going to take him out.
You didn't say Oz was going to take him out.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We can go back and look. I 100% said he doesn't make it out. Oz is going to catch up with him sooner or later for all that shit he said at the beginning, because he said it. People that are close to you are a weakness. This was one of my bookends that I love. This is one of them. So this all hurt. And the minute that conversation changed a little bit, I was like, oh, here it is. The minute he said, people close to you, it makes you weak. I'm like, hey. I wanted to be wrong about that because I love this kid. Great character, but you can walk us through it.
They're there and they're finishing the bottle of whiskey that he snuck into his mom's room to celebrate him being on top, him being the king of Gotham. And he's there talking with Vic, his right-hand guy, his boy, who's come back with him, who came back to him.
Saved his life.
On multiple occasions. Multiple occasions saved his
Committing
life.
a homicide in one of those occasions, mind you, with the car, with the Maserati.
Yes. And just seeing the direction that Vic went. But that's the thing, is when you're dealing with a monster, a person who's all about himself, and you see that come out. And he puts his arm around him. And then
that was when I knew.
after he said, he's like, you're like family to me. He goes, I know. And he pulls him in and he's like, but that's why I got to do this. And he takes his hand.
He says, I can't take you with me this
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, fuck me.
And he's like, what? And he starts choking him. And the guy's, Vic is just begging for him to let him go. Yep. He's like, no. And he's like, family makes you weak. People who care about you give other people like a way into you. And he's like, I can't have that this time. I can't have any loose ends.
It's like, you got a good heart, Vic. I'm like, dude, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. But dude, that's not even the best part of this scene. The best part of this scene is where you get it spelled out for you once and for all after 8 episodes that Oz is a psychotic piece of shit. He drops the body, takes the money, like the chump change that this kid's carrying, takes his ID, and for a split second, a normal person is like, he's going to keep this ID as a reminder of what he did to get where he's going and to, just to show him like as low as he can get. But he literally steps over Vic's body to walk down the river and flits the fucking ID into the river. Yep. Like so much garbage. And I'm like, this dude is a psychopath. There's no, you can't reason around it. There's no excluder. There's no caveat. There's no asterisk. Like, no, this dude's a psycho. And I didn't need the bonus scene coming up to prove it to me. Like, this was the one.
Yeah.
Like what? Like setting a couple of enemies on fire. Like, I guess if you're already a criminal piece of shit, like whatever, that still makes you a psycho while you're smiling at it. But this, what he did to Vic, is what's going to make this character go down in history as worse than Walter White. Fact, no opinion. It's dude. He did this kid worse than Walter did Jesse. Well, I don't know about that. I have to review that. Maybe he might have done that worse than Jesse. But yeah, no. What a horrible human. Horrible human being. Killed his brothers. Killed Vic. That awful.
Anything that stood in his way of becoming the top guy.
Even if it didn't. Even if it didn't. And that's the psychosis, is none of these things did. Well, I mean, maybe Vic could hypothetically, but his brothers, no shot, because that was one of the best things that the mom had said to him earlier in the scene with him and Sofia during the post-hypnosis, was where she's like, I had enough to give all of you. Like, you stupid fuck. There was enough of me to go around.
Yeah.
So dude, this was all in his head, how the world was looking at him or what he thought was holding him back. You know what I mean? But my God, that was, again, there's only so many times like a show hits you in the gut on the way out. And this was the gut punch on the way out. What comes next is just like the wrap up and like, oh my God, dude's twisted. But like the bit at the beginning with the reveal that mom knew what he did, boom, gut punch. And then how he does Vic at the end of the show, boom, gut punch. Like, there's not a lot of shows that pull that off. I mean, even something like peak Game of Thrones gives you like that gut punch like every other episode, every third episode. This show hits you a couple of times every Sunday.
Yes.
Wild.
So then you had a small tie-in. You see that Sofia is back in Arkham. Dr. Rush is working at Arkham, delivering the mail, and she gets a letter from her half-sister, Selena Kyle. And she smiles while reading it.
And they don't tell you. They don't read it out loud. She's reading the document, and then she smiles. And I don't know if you noticed, but you probably did because you're sorry guys, because you're a production guy. When Rush walks in, the sound is very muted. Like, it's because she's only half listening. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah, she's like in
half volume,
like her own type of world type
in
thing.
her own little world,
or
right?
She's on where she picked up the bliss was from the being in Arkham. That's where she found out about the whole thing. So that's the candy that they give out.
She might have been
Med Pie. So she
but I
might
just like
have
that
been
creative,
like
that technical creative decision to mute things, because we've seen them play with sound a couple of times, like in the episode where Oz is in the explosion at the lab. He comes up the ladder, there's no sound, and then he flicks some rubble out of his ear, and it's sirens and people crying and helicopters and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was a nifty sound cue. I did like that. So there's your Batman tie-in. So anybody complaining that this episode or this series was just going to set up the Batman 2, I challenge you to show me where that was the thing, other than them just kind of connecting a character from that movie to this show. You know what I mean? Like So this is it. Like this was the connection. And then one more thing, tiny, like 2 seconds.
Yeah, which we get to the end where you see big boss man Penguin. His new
tuxedo.
Was it like he had a Bentley? Was it a Bentley?
It was either Bentley or Cadillac, and I'm guessing it was a Bentley. I'm pretty sure it was a Bentley.
I think it was a Bentley, a purple Bentley to make up for his purple Maserati that he lost. And he's in
tuxedo,
full Penguin from the comic book outfit.
He's carrying the hat.
Yeah,
he's carrying the top hat. I'm like,
the
oh my god,
hat,
don't put it on.
The tuxedo jacket with the long tails.
Long tails. Yep.
He has the gold vest on.
Did you see when he walked into the room what he put the top hat on? Did you notice that? Because you finally got it. Did you see
the umbrella?
The umbrella.
Which they've hinted at umbrellas in this. Like if you go back to Sophia Eve's interaction, there was a lamp that was shaped like an umbrella. So they've hinted at umbrellas through the whole thing. I'm just
like
glad
we said, you're never getting the Tommy gun umbrella.
The Tommy gun, the flying umbrella. Yeah, you didn't get the stupidity of the umbrella.
You weren't getting the sword umbrella. You know what I mean? I thought that might actually, that I'd be okay with. Like a 3-inch blade that he triggers and can just shank somebody. I'd be okay with that. But he's obviously pimped out. And I don't get how he got all that money that fast. Because again, this show takes place over like a week or something or two. There's one time jump, but like the last group of episodes have been like,
I think
it had to have been, right?
This last scene,
he's got the car, the cash, he's got the gear, the building he's in. Dude, he finally delivered on Promise to Mama. Like he put her up in a penthouse. It's just not what you thought.
It's in Crown Heights.
It's in Crown Heights on a condemned building, but it's his. Yeah. And Mama's up in a top floor. And I'm like, when we're going in, I'm like, they want me to think this is a nice place, but like I can see all the exposed wiring in the ceiling. Yeah. And it looks just like cement, like it's a parking garage or something. But Mom's on the top floor in a hospital bed with all the gear rigged up, overlooking the city. And dude, if it doesn't break your heart, she's got the single tear roll. And then Oz, what does Oz say? I know, it's everything we wanted. And I'm like, no, dude, she made you promise to kill her if this happened. Yes. And you haven't done that.
You haven't done that.
Oh, dude. It's like the Metallica video, bro.
Yeah, he's going to force her to stay alive. And it's his payback for what she said. I've hated you and I've always hated you.
Oh, dude, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even consider that. I just thought because he's just a psycho. Oof, that adds levels of, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Oh my God. But then we get the Norman. Yeah, God, if there's more, you do more, then we'll do Norman Bates.
So you have this is like first off Norman Bates. Because remember Norman Bates had his dead mother
up in the chair.
This is his vegetated mother in the hospital bed. And then
can't talk.
Then he dressed up as his mother and Norman Bates did and did the killing. This one, he has someone dressed up as his mother. We all know her as Eve.
Yep.
And I think this is her penance for what she did.
Oh, dude, I thought she was getting thrown out that window so bad. I thought Oz would have finally figured out she's the one that told Sophia where they were in episode, what was that, 6, I think. And I'm like, he's going to dance with this chick, and they're going to dance over to that railing beyond that window, and this chick's going for a dive. And I'm not even, I'm still saying this shit might happen in the movie. It might happen. It could be a mini B plot in the movie. But I'm not convinced she gets out.
They have the same song that was playing at the
jazz club.
At the jazz club, and they start dancing
and in the apartment.
And he's telling her what to say. Say you're proud of me. Say that I'm a good boy.
Oh my God.
And then
she's wearing the dress. I don't know if you said that. She's wearing the purple dress that Mom was wearing.
The sparkle dress.
The sparkly dress, right?
Yeah. And then he puts his head on her. And like they dance, and she's like, Gotham's yours, baby. He's like, who's gonna stand in your way now? And then they did the slow zoom out of the window, and you see his penthouse. And just like I said last week, how it was gonna end, the bat symbol flies up into the clouds. Roll credits.
And that was the other half of the connection to the movie. So again, dude, we said this at the beginning of our coverage. Especially after we saw how great episode 1 was. Batman didn't need to show up physically in this show and throw hands. I'm glad they incorporated it the way they did. They could neatly excise everything about the Penguin and tell its own story, start to finish. They did. He was over here at the beginning. He's over here at the end. Here's all the changes that went along the way. There's a half dozen interesting character arcs that went through, from Maroney to Sophia to Oz's whole family to Vic. I mean, the only thing missing here was like a strong police character presence, like with the chief or Gordon or something. But the show didn't need it, and I don't think there was room for it.
Yeah, because you also have to think about that this is also taking on the heels of what happened, the events of the Batman. So they're also dealing with what's going on there. So police presence would be lessened. You're in an area that no one cares about in Gotham. It's the poor people.
Which was the point.
So you don't see the police all down there because they don't actually care what happens in that district. Yep. And maybe that's another reason why Batman didn't show up, because it's that area.
But I mean, the kind of Selena Kyle's entire point from the Batman, if I remember right, was her waking young Bruce Wayne, young Batman, up to the plight of people that are down there, you know, and him kind of going down there and like doing the Moses thing and leading people out through the water and carrying the one girl, putting her on the stretcher while the National Guard airlift her and shit. Like, he was becoming aware of people suffering down there. Like, he was growing into that protector role.
Yeah.
So, but again, but we did not need to see him cruising the streets on the bike, in the car, throwing hands with Maroney's guys, you know, yanking people up out of frame on, you know, on a bat line or anything like that.
No, this was this is a perfect story. Like they introduced the Penguin as a low level guy who runs a club in the Batman. Then you see how he grew into the Penguin arch nemesis of the Batman, one of his greatest one of his
gallery, bro.
Yeah, his super villains that he had to compete. This is how the Penguin became that powerful to bring the attention of Batman on him.
So while we're talking about that, let's talk real quick about what was in Selena's letter to Sophia. I mean, is she telling her about her interactions with the Batman so Sophia can point the Batman in the direction of Oz or something? Like, what do you think was in that letter besides, hey, I know who you are, we have the same dad, or something? Like,
I have no clue what Selena Kyle would have wrote in that letter.
What would she say that would make her happy? You know what I mean? Like, I'm honestly guessing it's got to be something like, I saw what happened. There's somebody out there that can get this guy. It's Batman. Like, we're never gonna know. I very much doubt they bring that letter back in the movie or anything. But
no.
If Oz is in the movie, I'm guessing Sophia is in the movie also. Like, whether she's in Arkham or not, I think there's probably still something that happens there. I don't see how they can get around that. But Mike, dude, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying, we will find out in 2026 because they start shooting the Batman Part 2 early next year.
True. Hopefully they keep it under 3 hours. I just went back today to look for a couple of clips that I was trying to freshen up on. Dude, runtime 2 hours and 52 minutes. It's too much. Dude, you can tell a Batman story in 2 hours or less. It can be done. It should be done.
It can be, but I mean, you have so much more room to play around with.
Nobody needs a second, third act. Robert Meyer Burnett is correct. Nobody needs a second, third act. But dude, banger series, easy show of the year contender. There's no question about it. It feeds every other show its lunch money, hand over fist, everything I've watched this year, without a doubt. And that includes, like I said before, House of the Dragon season 2, which started off pretty strong, but I don't think ever really hit compelling like this did, just character wise, because they kind of just replayed a bunch of the same plot beats with its main cast. And then it fell off a cliff trying to stretch material into a season 3. This show here, like we talked about at the beginning of our coverage, it knew what it was. It's a series one-off. It had 8 episodes from bang to bullets to get things done. And it did. It stuck the mythological landing. It really did. Like, I don't know. Like, dude, if I gave you $30 million to film one episode, if it needed to wrap up more stuff, like, what even would you do different if you had to give more to this series? Like, I don't know what else you could add.
No, I think they told a great, compelling story, start to finish, and wrapped it up nicely with a bow on it. They took the plane up and they landed the plane safely down with all expectations completely met. Or exceeded.
I'm going to go with exceeded because, again, we can sit here and talk all day about, we're always fans of setups, payoffs. I love bookends in particular. You like more of the technical stuff on the side of things, creative decisions, and I think it checked all your boxes there. It had a great cast. There were no weak performers here anywhere. Nobody had a bad episode. Nobody phoned anything in. No.
Oh yeah. If Sophia doesn't get more roles based off of
Krista
this
Merlotti.
performance, she's definitely just booked herself like 17 shows and like 9 movies just from her performance here. This
and I don't know. Yeah, go.
Like I would not be surprised in the next 2 to 3 years we'll see her nominated for Best Actress in a feature film.
Dude, I completely agree, and I'll tag along to that. Not that I think Colin Farrell needed like a career resurgence or anything, because I think he had his time as a younger actor where he was getting all the sex symbol awards from various outlets and things like that. This guy right here, if anybody thought he couldn't act, the way he switches between the violently psychotic into the broken mama's boy, and the way he just commits to the lie. Oh, what are you talking about? I didn't do nothing. Like, nope, I'm sold. This dude can act. 100% he can act.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't get does a show like that? And that's the thing. That's the problem with genre stuff. Do you know this? The genre gets no respect. So do you catch nominations for the Penguin? I mean, I hope you do. You should. The rest of TV sucks. This is every bit as well done as Bridgerton. Shit. They should definitely clean up at like the Golden Globes. That's what I mean.
It should get some Emmys. Like the way this is performed, this should clean up at the award show, because there's nothing that came out this last year that can hold a candle to this.
It's not even close. So we weren't doing ratings for the episode by episode, but I'm going to stamp a 5-star all over this sumbitch because I have to, just as a series overall. It has rewatch value if you like good writing, if you want to see characters go on interesting journeys, if you want to see creative decisions that make sense on their own and don't just function in service of the plot. This is a good show. Like, this is it. This is your show. And to clarify a detail, because I've seen other people say this in our circles, or circles adjacent anyway, this is not a superhero show. You don't need any knowledge of the Batman or the Penguin going in. It's a crime story. It's rival like criminal enterprises feeding off of each other as they scramble for power. You don't need to know anything about Batman or anything.
It's an American Tale mixed with DC Universe. That's all it is.
Right. Minus all the magic and superpowers. Because there's none of that here. There's no weird technological gadgets. There's no lasers, no teleporters, no aliens, no gods, no Superman, no Wonder Woman, nothing like that. It's just a crime show. So if you like The Sopranos, and this gets heavily compared to that, but you want that a little bit more modern flair, I think, in terms of the production, this is the show for you. 5 stars from the Wolf Kings. Do you want to throw a rating? Do you want to slice it a little thinner, 4.8 or something?
No,
it's just that great. 5, just boom.
It's a 5. This one should take home best show at the Golden Globes, best actress, best actor, best supporting actress, because the show didn't just have like one story in it. It had multiple stories in it, multiple arcs, all of them changing the characters from start to finish. So it was a great, I would say, blueprint for a 8 episodes run series. Like, this is how you do character development, have a B plot, having a C plot, having minor characters with their own arcs, and actually having it matter instead of them just being there for plot filler.
And I think that, like you were just talking about, a blueprint for an 8 episode run. I think it's also a really good blueprint for why genre needs to be an hour long. Like, I think when you're doing these kind of things, you need everything King Z just said. This show doesn't work as well if Vic and Francis and Sophia aren't giving the runtime to become who they are at the end of this series. Like, one episode of his mom with dementia isn't enough. Him shooting at Vic and then killing Vic at the end of the series doesn't develop their bond enough over 8 episodes for that to be a gut punch. All of the crime stuff in the background with the different factions, you need time to get that all done. And this is proof in the pudding of why you need an hour. And I'd love to see the budget per episode of this show. I'm guaranteeing it's not as much as The Acolyte. I said it. And it's infinitely better, and it ran twice as long.
The other thing that this show did right, that a lot of shows that we've watched this year and that we've reviewed, is we've always predicted like the last episode would probably be longer. It'd be a double episode. It'd be this. This episode actually did that because it needed more time to wrap everything up, and they weren't scared to do it. And it didn't lose viewership. It didn't lose interest. It didn't make people check their phones to see how much time that's left in the episode. This is the way you do it. If you need a little more time, take a little bit more time. I'd be gladly to give up 20 more minutes to see more of what they did. Just so
it never overstayed its
stories.
welcome.
Yeah.
Right. Never overstayed its welcome. So I was happy to give it. And I think it was only like 12 more minutes. It wasn't even that much.
Yeah.
It was an easy time cost to pay. But guys, that's going to do it for our coverage of the Penguin. All of the episodes are, of course, on the channel for you guys to check out in case you were waiting, because Kingsy's a big fan of this, to binge watch them all over a weekend or something. He still thinks that's a superior model. He's wrong. We won't tell him. Again,
I'm not wrong.
Dude, you're dead wrong, dude. And all the models show it. But anyway, that's going to do it for us. We love the Penguin. 5 stars. Go check it out. HBO Max. And like Kingsley said earlier, don't be strangers around here, because we're doing Dune Prophecy next week. Is it
17.
next week? Already?
Yeah, next week.
It is
yeah,
next week. Holy shit.
6 days from now.
So we'll sort out our schedule for that. And without any further ado, I'll give it over to King Z for a profound and heartfelt long goodbye.
Well, see ya.